What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Look, we got another great issue number 27 of Kerrang from 1982. This is from October 21st through November 3rd. We're almost winding down Kerrang magazine reviews. This one features the legendary Baron Rojo. I've never heard of Baron Rojo. Maybe you have. Let me know below. If you've heard of Baron Rojo, I'm sure you can look him up on YouTube. Some of you out there, let me know what you think about Baron Rojo, because I've never heard about Baron Rojo. Alright, before we begin, just click subscribe, hit that notification bell. Any questions, comments, or feedback, leave them below. You're here at KGTR, and we're going to go ahead and look at this vintage, awesome heavy metal magazine called Kerrang. And this features Baron Rojo. We're going to flip through it to see what's in this issue. Alright, let's go ahead and begin. As you can see, we got Baron Rojo Bullring Blitz. This issue covers Aerosmith, John Cougar. You're all Tony. John Cougar's not metal. No, but it was pretty big with Jack and Diane, that song, Jack and Diane, or whatever it was called. And he just like catapulted on MTV. It was everywhere. I was so sick of that damn song. You know what song I'm talking about. It starts off with that acoustic intro. Jack and Diane, I think it was. It was a okay hit, but they just kept playing it over and over and over. So I didn't care for John Cougar. I could tolerate him. I didn't care for John Cougar. All right, we got Genesis. We got Hawkwind. I've never heard of Hawkwind. Let me know below. We got John Sykes. May he rest in peace. Look, this will be John Sykes in 1982. Remember, he passed away in 2025. So he had a lot of history from 1982 through 2025. Let's see what he's doing in 1982. We got Neil Young. We got Cockney, Rejects, we got Billy Squire, we got Rush, Getty's Axe, Sweet, and Rocks, alright? And on the bottom we got Lee Aaron Centerfold. Alright, let's go ahead and look at this issue. Alright, again with the other previous issues, the official heavy metal charts, specially compiled for Kerrang from nationwide survey of 50 specialist shops. These are their top singles, albums, local charts, and import albums. As you can see on the singles, you got Burning Down One Side by Robert Plant. As far as a single, you have Magic by Gillan. See, Gillan's still relevant. Gillan is like in almost every Kerrang issue. He's like, must be very, very popular in the UK. You got the top import albums as the fans voted on. You got Hughes and Thrall. Hughes and Thrall right there. And the local charts, you got I can't read that. Let me see if I can blow that up real fast. Gimme Gimme by Black Hook. Or Blackfoot. You got Gimme Gimme by Blackfoot. I think I said Blackfoot. Let's go back in frame. Alright, let's open the next page. Alright, Budgie. Remember Budgie? I never heard of Budgie. Let me know below if you heard of Budgie. And now remember, this issue is from the UK, so there was a lot of bands and band names I'm just not familiar with. Not all the bands crossed over into the US or made it big. They were pretty much left to the wayside in the UK and Europe, where they made a name for themselves, but not mainstream where you would go out and follow them. At least from my understanding, because I never heard of. Hey, let's go see Budgie at the sports arena. No, that didn't happen. Let's go see Budgie at the stadium. That didn't happen. See? Right, we got here Baron Rojo. And then this is from a poster right here. Pronounced Rocco. So Baron Rojo likes to be called Rocco, apparently. Alright, so this is Baron Rojo. To date, maybe after this video, I'm going to go look up some Baron Rojo on YouTube and see what he was all about. Alright, so this talks about Baron Rojo. Again, my only beef with Kerrang, as I mentioned before, all the interviews and articles and whatnot and features, it's like micro print. You have to like hold it up really close to your face or blow it up. Like, look, 1, 2, 3. Look how to blow that up. It took some hard persuasion mind. There was a time not so long, see, I had to blow this up just to be able to read that. But that's small print, isn't it? That's my only beef with Kerrang. Right, this talks more about Baron Rojo, or aka Rocco. Right, more Baron Rojo, like Life on the Run, driving with Samson. Right, okay, this is John Cougar Mellencamp. He was John Cougar, then later he wanted to be John Cougar Mellencamp. That's kind of weird, huh? But that's what he did. I don't know why. You know why? I think it was because, I could be wrong, John Cougar Mellencamp was not a rock star name. It just sounds weird, right? John Cougar Mellencamp. So he was John Cougar, and that sounded pretty cool. Well, after he got big enough, he just like, you know what? I'm John Cougar Mellencamp. And so if you were already a fan of John Cougar, you accepted the Mellencamp. But he didn't have it for a reason, and so he brought it out later. Alright, rock and roll is not supposed to mean anything. The philosophy that took John Cougar to the top. Yeah, he had that couple of hits off that album he released. And it was all over MTV. All over MTV and the radio. Jack and Diane. And then some other ones. I forget. I forget. Take me back to 82. I can remember them. But 2025, 43 years later, I can't remember that. Alright, look at Mayhem. Remember, they just give you the latest buzz. What's happening in Los Angeles now. In the UK. The latest ins and outs. The news at the time. Alright, here we got here. I can't read that. I get Marillion. I guess this is Marillion. But look, see, it's just really small. You got Motorhead right there. You got, I can't read that. Tour dates. Let's see if I can blow this up real fast. David Coverdale right there. So there's David Coverdale tour dates right there. And what's over here? You got Neil Murray. You got Toto. You got Pete Way. You got Jeff Beck, Michael Schenker, Roger Taylor, Gary Barden. So, again, small print, but this gives you the latest news on who's touring. Right, these are the cuts of the latest albums or bands they want you to check out. This is from MSG. This is from Gary Moore, Quarters of Power. Remember that one? Santana, Carlos Santana. We got the band Tank. I never heard of Tank. Let me know if you have. Vandenberg. Now, Vandenberg had this Burning Heart. It was the only video I ever heard or seen from Vandenberg. Had an incredible guitar solo by Adrian Vandenberg, playing like an orange guitar. Beautiful maple neck. I just remember it vividly. I always wanted that guitar. I didn't know. It was, yeah, because it was a reverse headstock, if I'm not mistaken. It was a right-handed guitar, but it was a left-handed headstock. Or that, it was a reverse headstock, basically. So it looked weird at that time. But it was cool. It had a really incredible guitar tone effect for that guitar solo on this Burning Heart. One day I'll try to emulate that guitar tone. But there was some, I don't know if it was a harmonizer or just playing double lead on it. But there's some chorus on there, I think. And something else. It's really good. Right? Dire Straits, Heaven, Wishbone Ash, The Runaways, Sammy Hagar, and I can't read that one. I can't. If you can, let me know. Right, Marvin Ready, Soldier, Wells Fargo. Okay, these are the bands that they're recommending to look out for. Also, check them out at the clubs. The band Soldier. Never heard of Soldier? Wells Fargo. So there's a band, heavy metal band called Wells Fargo. There's a band called Saber. All right, what do you think about Saber and Wells Fargo? Right? Long Gone. Gillan. Again, Gillan is like in every issue of Kerrang, it seems. Either an article, a photo, a snippet. There he is. All right, Aerosmith, back with a splash. We still piss all over the opposition, says Steven Tyler. Now, remember Steven Tyler, or Aerosmith was big in the mid-late 70s, right? With Dream On, and, what was the other damn song? But they had a couple of hits in the mid-late 70s, and they were a big powerhouse. Then they faded away, or they had drugs or something like that. They came back around 82 with kind of like their introduction to heavy metal. It was more hard rock than their previous albums. I forgot what the album was. But there was a video, I think it was called Lightning Strikes. It was pretty good. I liked it. It was heavier than their originals, than their earlier work. But then they disappeared again also, maybe for drugs, I don't know. I'm just saying. But in 87, we all know they came back with a vengeance, and they just blew up again. Even bigger and better than they ever were. So when you count a band out, they'll regroup. clean up, write better material, and get more serious. And 87 was a huge year for Aerosmith, and they just got very wealthy, very big, very powerful. All right, I don't know if he's really tinkling here. It could be just pouring out a beer can. But there's Steven Tyler. All right, Bear Rojo, aka Rocco, special offer, 2 LPs for the price of 1. Right? See them on the road with Hawkwind. Remember the band Hawkwind? No, I don't. Right? Contact. You want to contact the local band, guitar labels, so on. This is where to do it. Hawkwind competition. First prize, Dave Brock's guitar. Second prize, 10 pairs of tickets. And third prize, 15 albums. Again, I never heard of Hawkwind. So if you want to go check them out on YouTube, I'm sure you can find either music or videos of Hawkwind. But I've never heard of Hawkwind. Just type in Hawkwind band and then type in 1982, obviously, because they were releasing records or performing live in 1982. And then you can let me know what you think about Hawkwind. Alright, look at this. Classic Cuts. The Sweet Hellraiser. Alright, look at these guitars here. Look. I never knew what this guitar was. It's an ugly design. It's a Gibson SG. Obviously the lead singer and the drummer right there. But look at these outfits. What's that? Indian outfit garb? I don't know what this is. A dress, a skirt. So I don't know what they're trying to do. The Sweet Hellraiser. Right, so these are the bands that you can check out. Rocks. Alright, not bad, but this, what is this? Alright, what's this? look at the shoes, look at the shoes. And look at the red scarf right here. The red scarf. So I don't know what their image is. Look at these boots. These are obviously women's boots. Look. These right here are women's boots because they're not platform high heels. These are like almost like pumps with the high heels right here. These are like women's boots right there. I'm almost positive. Because guy boots have the thick bottoms or the thick heel. This has a really tall, pointy heel. But I never heard of Rock, so let me go. Here's Geddy's Axe. Again, what's their image? This is regular street clothes. Look, regular street clothes. There's no image here. So hopefully their music doesn't talking. These guys don't know what they want to be. I don't know what this is. I don't know what this is right here. Enter Jeff Spicoli.
Oh,
remember what Jeff Spicoli said? Wait, listen.
Oh, those guys are back!
That's how we talked back in 1982. We did. Ask any of your buddies back in 1982. That's how we talked. So, it's okay. Right. Geddy, touring Britain is a real grind. Look at Geddy Lee. Hey, you gotta pay your dues. You know, you release an album and the labels make you tour the US, Europe, Asia, then Australia, and then back to your town in Canada. You just travel everywhere, and it's grueling. It can be fun, but to live out of a suitcase, unpack, play, you know, your whole life is different. So I've never toured, but you can only imagine. Probably the fun and the excitement, but also like, oh, I'm tired of touring. I need a break. Then I go back in the studio and then do it all over again. Right, look at Aerosmith, Rock in a Hard Place, the great new album from Aerosmith. As soon as the stylus hit the wax, it melted and the speaker covers blew across the living room floor. 5-star rock from America's finest, Rock in a Hard Place. I think this is the album that features lightning strikes, if I'm not mistaken. I think it does. Alright, look at Lee Aaron, Kerrang. Look at Lee Aaron. Now, isn't that a little sexy body? Look. Now, forgive me for messing up the poster right here, but look. Doesn't she have a nice body? Look. Look how tight she is right there. Look at her. These shorts were all the rage back in 79 to 82. These, I don't know what they're called, but not dolphin shorts, but these really, really short shorts. Women wore them all over high school too. Can you believe that? Look, here's my favorite guitar. I love this guitar. One day I'm going to buy this style. Explorer. I think it's an Explorer, right? Yeah, Explorer. I'm not going to buy a Gibson or an Epiphone. I'm going to buy a Firefly. You watch. Younger Than Yesterday. An exclusive interview with Neil Young, digital synthesizer, and vocoder. Right? I never cared for Neil Young. Talented, obviously. I just never cared for him. So you have to love him or hate him. Alright, this talks about Neil Young. Look at Genesis. Nice cool poster right here. Genesis. Again, forgive me for splitting this full-size image, but the scan it, that's the way it goes. Right, Phil Collins goes into overdrive. Remember, there's a time where he leaves Genesis to go solo, and he actually makes it bigger when he goes solo. So here's Phil Collins goes into overdrive, but he helped Genesis explode also, Phil Collins. So good for him. Alright, Twin Barrels Burning, Wishbone Ash. Right, what's next? In your next Kerrang, we have AC/DC, Marillion, Venom, Wishbone, Spies, Kim Carnes, and Crocus. Jimmy Page and Guitar Heroes. Alright. The Wild Ones. Don't press the reject button. They could be the new Aerosmith. Even Ozzy agrees. Alright, who is this? The Cooney. Alright, okay, let me see who this is. Oh, the Cockney reacts to Kerrang. The Wild Ones. Okay, so here's a band called... Whoops. Sorry about that. This is a band called The Wild Ones. And they're comparing them, or just basically saying they could be the new Aerosmith. So, let me know out there if you went on YouTube as we speak and type in the Wild Ones band 1982. I would say that. I would type that in on YouTube. The Wild Ones band 1982. And see what comes up. Singles or debut album or video. Let me know. And let me know. Are they the next Aerosmith? Ozzy agrees. But look, see, they can be good, but maybe not good enough for record labels. Or maybe they were signed to a record label, but didn't get any airplay. Or they were only popular in a few areas in the UK. And they just didn't make it big. They didn't have the hooks or the look or the, who knows why bands make it or fail. Everyone said it's timing, right? It's all timing. Look at Diamond Head. Right? Hatchet Job. Well, Gary Moore now was starting to make a name for himself. Corridors of Power. And then his next solo album was huge in 1983-84. Right? The Classifieds. We're going to get into Pen Pals. Oh, Communication. Bent for Leather. Look at Rob Halford. Now, did anyone know at that time, in 1982, that he was gay? I never even imagined it or suspected it in 1982. I just knew that he was heavily into leather, but that to me that was like an image thing with the Harley motorcycles and just wearing leather. It wasn't gay to wear leather because all the heavy metal bands were wearing leather. But he took it to the extreme. But I'm not saying that's gay either. But in 1982, I never even suspected or thought of Rob Halford as gay. And he came out later, like I think in the 1990s maybe, or 2000s. But back in 82, I never thought he was gay. But was he already out? Let me know. Let me know if you thought he was gay. So let me know if you thought if you knew Rob Halford was gay back in 82. Or you heard rumors. I don't know. Alright, look at the singles. John Sykes. Look, remember John Sykes? Right, here we go. Look. Alright, look. I blew this up for you. Look. John Sykes. Please Don't Leave Me. No actual single of the issue. And this batch of 45s, but I guess this one comes as close as any. A pleasant little ballad featuring Philip Lynott on lead vocals and the other members of Lizzie. Bar Scott Gotham as backup musicians. And Sykes himself shines with a neat lead break. Alright, so someone out there, if you want to, check out John Sykes, Please Don't Leave Me, and let me know what you think about the song and the guitar solo, because apparently they're raving about it. Right, so they're talking about Phil Collins, Through These Walls, Robert Plant, Burning Down One Side, Raven, Crash Bang Wallop, Dumpy's Rusty Bolts, I've never heard of that. Over here, Samson, Mama's Boys, and Limelight. Right, so again, some of those bands I just never heard of. So again, see how small print the print is? Right, pen pals, the Michael Schenker group ad, Assault Attack. Again, you can look up Michael Schenker Live 1982 or 81 on Rock Blast, or Michael Schenker Live 1984. Amazing concert in Tokyo, I think. Can this man get Lizzie psyched up? Psyched up. Can this man get Lizzie psyched up? So isn't that pretty cool? I think this is the back. Almost. Hunk Month, John Sykes. So remember, he blew up later with David Coverdale and Whitesnake. I think that was around 87, right? That Monster album with Whitesnake. So he was making a name for himself here, but he blew up with Whitesnake. Right, upcoming concerts, AC/DC at Newcastle City Hall. You got Neil Young at Wembley Arena. You got T34 at the Embassy London. Isn't that pretty cool? Right? We got Barbara Schenker. I don't know if that's his sister or his wife or what. Right? We got English Rose. We got Moonlight Festival over here. So that's pretty cool. Alright. And then we got the strange saga of, let me see what this is, of Hawkwind. Okay, so this is what the band Hawkwind looks like. That is not a Gibson Les Paul. I don't know what this is. Could be an Ibanez, who knows? I don't know what this guitar is either, I just don't know. But this is the band Hawkwind. Let me know if you ever heard of Hawkwind, or if you just recently discovered Hawkwind, because I've never heard of them. Alright, Hawkwind, again, you want to learn about Hawkwind, here we go. Mama's Boys, that was another metal band from the UK. More on Hawkwind right here. Look, Hamer guitars. Now, remember Gibson Epiphone had this style right here? Dean also came out with theirs, but they had that flying V. They had like a V headstock. The Hamer guitars, made very popular by Rick Nielsen of Cheap Trick. Look at this beautiful Hamer. So I like this Hamer right here, and I love this Hamer right there. But I don't know why they're so damn expensive. You know. Alright, who's this? Billy Squier. Alright, so little does he know that by 84, he's gonna start to fizzle out. He was big around 80, 81, 82, right? Monster albums and hits, heavy airplay and whatnot. So he made his money, he made his coin, got pretty rich, but he just couldn't carry on the success during the new wave era of the 80s and 80s metal, glam metal, hair metal. So while those two genres were competing with each other, you had 80s metal and then you had 80s new wave. Where was Billy Squier? Where did he fit in? And that was the back cover of this issue right here of Kerrang, featuring Baron ROJO. Right? Thanks for joining me. I'm Tony. If you have any questions, comments, and feedback, leave them below. Thanks for joining me here as we flip through these magazines page by page. They just take you back in time, reminisce, see how the music scene was developing back in the day. In this case, we're on to 1982. As you can tell, this issue was October through November 3rd. We're winding down the year of 1982. Stick with me, we only have a few more issues left of Kerrang for 1982. And trust me, I have some more surprises coming your way I think you're going to love. So, thank you for joining me and subscribing. And I'll see you all in the next video.